What is going on, everyone? My name's Tyler Humphreys. Welcome, happy quarantine, I guess. It looks like it's actually coming to an end soon, so hence the purpose of this video. Between Evolve GT having a track day next weekend and then hopefully some Summit Point with CCS coming up soon in a couple weeks, we get to go racing. So that being said, I got a couple things to do to get the bike finished getting put together, and I figured throw together a little video of it. Got some places to stop, parts to pick up, between a fresh Superbike motor, new suspension for the season, and just various services and things like that. But yeah, figured what a time to make the first video. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy, and let's see what happens. All right, so just a little kind of explanation on where I'm going. So I'm taking off from Millersville, Pennsylvania this morning, which is right outside of Lancaster. Got about a half-hour drive to Sam Weist. He runs LWT Racer, pick up a few parts. From there, about an hour and a half to Metric Devil Moto and Trackside Parts Club with Justin Levy and Mike Felice to get suspension and a few other odds and ends. But before that all begins, quick stop for the essentials at Dunkin' Donuts. Long day, a lot of miles ahead. All right, what's up? So we're just about to take off from LWT Racer here. I got some fancy new titanium banjo bolts and hardware. Toss these in, weight savings everywhere we can. Hopping back in the car, about an hour and a half now to Pipersville to go to Metric Devil Moto and Trackside Parts Club to grab some odds and ends. See you there. All right, what's going on, everyone? So the day is done. We have completely gotten back to my parents' garage where my bike's at the moment, until I get my own place in a couple months here. But for the time being, this is the current state of the bike. So here is my 2005 Suzuki SV650. This bike, I've been racing it. This will be my, I believe, 4th season riding this bike. I bought it back in 2016 as a street bike and have done a lot of work in it. Today, some of the main stuff we were picking up, primarily, we got a new Brembo 19x18 master cylinder. I've been running one of those for a while now with the master. This one's just had some issues. I've thrown it down the road a couple times, so gonna finally replace that. From there, we also got some new braided lines, which are somewhere. We got a new fairing stay, because once again, you can see this old one. This one's been through it. It's been quite torn up and bent around and beat up. So we got a nice fresh one here from Justin Levy at Trackside Parts Club. We got some fresh new motor mounts because I've stripped out the old ones. So big thank you to Sergey from Mad V8 Cycles for those. And then the big thing we picked up today was the suspension for the bike. My suspension guy is Mike Felice with Metric Devil Moto. He's been doing my suspension ever since I started riding, because the way I got introduced to riding was through working at a shop, and then I was like, wow, I want to race bikes. So consequently, he's been doing my suspension ever since then. And for this bike, we use the stock forks overall, but inside we have AK-20 cartridges. So that's a full-blown cartridge, does full adjustment and everything else. So I was just there today at his shop helping him put these back together and get them all ready to go and all freshened up. And then same goes for the shock here. This is once again all rebuilt, freshened up. The only change right now that we're going into this season with, provided I ever get to ride a motorcycle, is I have gone up a little bit in spring rate, but only in the front. Just looking for a little more stiffness, just a little more in the front. And I think the spring rate should help a lot with that. Give me a little more travel, give me more working room. And in the rear, we left it alone entirely. But we're thinking we might end up swapping the spring after I get used to the bike, get used to riding again, because at this point I haven't ridden for, I don't know, 8 months at this point. So yeah, finally got I think all the things we need to get the bike all the way back together. Time will tell. I'm sure there's a few odds and ends I'm forgetting about completely. But yeah, we will see. Okay, so I figured might as well real quick run you through some of the things that are new on the bike this year. So this year is the first time I will be going into the season with a built motor. Up until this point, I have been running a stock motor, with the exception of putting some cams in midway through last season, along with some board throttle bodies. But this year, over the winter, Sam from LWT Racer, in January, me and him went through, we rebuilt this motor, we put in some bigger pistons, should be making some more power. We got a nice, under here on the SVs, there's usually a oil cooler. We got the delete in there so that just some weight savings because the SVs really don't need that. So yeah, we got, you know, bored out cylinders and everything. We got the bigger cams in here. And then something else that's going in that's been there before are these throttle bodies that are bored out by Zoran at TWF in Arizona. So a combination of those things should, in theory, and will yield us more horsepower, which I'm excited about because previously on this bike, with a stock bore motor and everything, my best lap times were a 1:18.4 or 7 around Summit, one of the two, I want to say, on this bike. And then a 1:29 flat at New Jersey Motorsports Park. I want to say those are the best 2 times I ever got on the stock setup. I've gone faster at New Jersey on a superbike motor during Moto America, but that's not my bike. I'm super comfortable on this thing, and I'm super excited because I've never owned a motorcycle with a built motor before, and I've always been racing with a disadvantage against guys with built motors. So I'm super excited to finally have real power underneath me and be able to really get after it this year, and hopefully be chasing some lap times that are very, very seriously fast. But yeah, so this year the bike's the best it's ever been. I got titanium hardware spread throughout. You know, everywhere you look there's little bits of bling. You know, everything's freshly greased, all freshly prepped. The suspension's brand new. You know, everything should be the best this bike has ever felt, which hopefully in turn helps me turn the best lap times ever turned on this thing, which only time will tell. All right, so the first part I got on so far is this here new Vortex fairing stay. Something special about this piece, it's actually for a Jigsaw between, I believe, 08 and 09, or it says it right on here, 06-08 Jigsaw. So the normal second gen SV650 race fairings are, in my opinion, pretty ugly, at least the ones you can get from normal suppliers. So they're super ugly, not good looking. So what a lot of people do, including myself, is that as a Jigsaw fairing stay on there, and because of that, we can get away with running the Jigsaw fairings, which, in my opinion, look a lot meaner and have a lot nicer lines than the SV fairings. So I've been running those fairings, actually, that same upper fairing. This is 3rd season for this set of fairings, which is insane. As you can see, we have one up there that's not so lucky, but this basically makes the Jigsaw fairings a direct bolt up to the SV, with the exception of just a little bit of trimming on some of the bodywork, just here and there to make it fit just a little bit snugger. But it's a very common thing to do in the SV world, to throw that bodywork on there. It just looks better, and it's relatively easy to do. Yeah, just a little explanation on that. One other really cool part of this, not really cool, but one other special part about this bike that I want to share is usually the wheel that these run are a 160 by 60 wheel. So tire is what fits on the stock wheel. It's more narrow than what, you know, modern 600s and things of that nature run. So what I've done, and a lot of other guys do, and what you have to do on these to run Moto America to fit the right tires, is there's a special kit that makes it so a Jigsaw real wheel can fit in here. And to do that, you got to do a whole bunch of machining to the hub of the Jigsaw wheel and get some special spacers, do some machining to the brake mount there too as well. So I got a whole bunch of, you know, special pieces back here, cut specially, you know, that way I can fit a Jigsaw rear wheel. And because of the Jigsaw rear wheel, that allows me to run these fatter tires in the form of a, in the form of a 180/60 there, rather than the 160/60. So it's a bigger tire, and it gives me just more grip. It's a better tire. I think the carcass is better. And the biggest thing for me, why I continued to run it even after Moto America, when I didn't have to run the bigger rear wheel anymore, or the rear tire, is I really, really like the way the bigger tire tracks into the corners. Trail braking into a corner, having the bigger, at least I feel, having the bigger contact patch in the rear, or whatever it is, or something about the bigger rear wheel and the rear tire just makes the bike feel a lot more planted, especially on corner entry for me, in my opinion. And of course, with these, I only, provided I'm not doing Moto America stuff, I religiously run Pirelli. I'll swear to, you know, I'll swear on Pirelli until the day I die. I think they're the best tires for motorcycles in the world. Of course, not taking into account MotoGP, but we don't need to get into that. So yeah, that allows me to run the Diablo Superbike SC1. Ignore this, this is just a junk takeoff, but with an SC1 180/60 on the back of an SV, I can't think of one time where I've kicked that thing loose. You know, being on a bike that only made, up until this year, that's only made 70 horsepower, kicking loose a 180/60 SC1 slick is not easy for one of these things to do. So yeah, that rear wheel for me is huge. I think it makes the bike feel entirely different and make it feel like a real motorcycle rather than a cruiser bike that's been forced into racing. I think that rear wheel is huge to making one of these things go fast. All right, so real quick, one other huge thing that's come together with the bike this off season is typically on race bikes, there's a lot of stuff that comes on street bikes that you just don't need in a race environment. You know, between headlights, emissions, and just lots of turn signals and things of that nature. There's a lot in a wiring harness of a modern sport bike that is just simply not needed for racing. So this off season, when Sam Weiss from LWT Racer was doing the motor, I also asked him, and he also trimmed my harness down. So if you don't know, that basically means you just pull apart all the electrical tape around every single part of the harness throughout, and you trace all the wires you do need, trace all the wires you don't need, and you basically cut out all the nonsense that is not utilized in race bikes. So, you know, again, headlights, things of that nature that basically just make the whole picture in here a lot more overwhelming. There's a lot more wires before you trim a harness. So trimming a harness just makes a bike, well, A, it saves weight, even though it's not a substantial amount, it saves weight. But also, I think more importantly, it makes the bike a lot easier to work on. It removes a lot of the loose ends, the random wires that are floating around on a bike. So having a trimmed harness is something I'm personally pretty stoked about. And then this is pretty cool too. I forgot to mention, Sam threw one of these on there for me, a sweet little PlayStation button, if you will. What's up, guys? So I got some more work done on the bike last night. Later on, I didn't really record much of it as I was going, but as you can see here, I got the forks on the bike. It's not their final position. I got to adjust the ride height up top here. But, you know, I just had to get them in there so I could eventually tighten down the top triple there. I got the steering stabilizer on. New fairing stay is halfway on. Like I mentioned, this thing is for a GSXR. So as you can see, it's not quite right. I had the same one on it before. You just got to mess with it a little bit. It's not completely, you know, a perfect fit, but it works. Additionally, the SV has in the frame here some inserts that basically thread into the frame and then, you know, butt up against the motor to eat up that gap. And what's going on, everyone? So I'm back at my parents' house working on the bike. Last time I was here, when I was recording last, camera died. Naturally didn't bring a charger with me because why would I ever do that? But that being said, we got some of the stuff more on the bike. We got the throttle bodies all in, throttle cables. Airbox isn't on under there. I just want to get the thing going before I worry about, you know, I want to make sure I have everything right underneath the tank without the airbox on before I throw that on. So in theory here, just a couple of minutes and we're going to be trying to get this thing started. And then, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Watching some Twins Cup from last year to keep the motivation up and, yeah, keep on wrenching. All right, guys, so the bike is on the ground, motor is in, airbox is in. Working on getting everything else attached. So as of now, we were cranking it earlier and something's not right. Not sure what. It's just shooting out a lot of backfire out of the exhaust when I'm cranking it. So I'm going to bring it back down to Sam Weiss. That was the plan anyway. We're going to replace the swing arm. We're going to go through everything, get it up and running, get it to 100%. But for right now, this is the current state of it. Not going to throw any body work and stuff on as we still got a lot of work to do. Still got to fiddle with suspension and stuff like that. But yeah, this is what she looks like right now. Looking a lot more like a real motorcycle than she did this morning. So I'm pretty excited about that. I think this is where I'm going to close out this video. I don't think I need to make any more, and it's going to be a little while until I have more stuff to do. So yeah, if you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Stay tuned, because as soon as I make it to a racetrack, I'm going to be doing a whole video, you know, what that's like for me, what I do, you know, onboard footage with commentating, to help people learn tracks, things of that nature. So yeah, if you liked it, please share the video. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.